Hi guys, welcome to my channel where we talk about everything from tech to films and all the fun stuff in between. I've just seen a few videos on YouTube where YouTubers unboxed their original iPhone and compared it with the most recent iPhone 11. Even I thought I'd let me get my old iPhone out of the box and make a video about it. I then started writing the script, tech specs, etc. But then it kind of brought back old memories on how much this one device changed our lives. How it kind of redefined everything we knew until then. And I was lucky enough to witness every part of it. So my journey is more emotional and personal rather than just talking about specs and comparison. But we'll do that a bit as well because it's super fun to see how far we have come along from that initial spark. So here's my iPhone. I still have the box, but not all the accessories. So let's unbox it together. Even back then, everything about the packaging screamed quality. The one which I have is the 8GB version. It was on O2 network. That was the only network which was supported upon launch back in 2007. So open the box, the phone straight up. As you can see, it's still in decent condition. That smooth aluminium finish. The dark antenna bit at the bottom. The 30-pin connector. Down-facing speaker grills. The volume rocker and the iconic mute switch, which still is present on today's iPhones. Let's put that aside and look at this transparent glass tray. Wow. And then the paperwork. Look at this. Apple was a little more generous and included a dock in the box as well. Today they would happily charge like £40 for this kind of an accessory. And then I think the box had the charger, the cable, and the old iconic Apple earbuds. They actually used to come in this plastic case. Let's look at the paperwork. Wow, it came with this cleaning cloth. It's even got the iPhone logo on it. That's so generous of you, Apple. You know, they should have reintroduced this with the iPhone 10, like a throwback to the original iPhone. They should have really done that. And then the Apple stickers. 12 years and I haven't found a use for these. And then the warranty information. Oh, look at that, fingertips. Wow, they had to include all the instructions for everything which the phone does. See, back then, there was nothing like it. So they had to explain everything, including how to unlock, how to copy, how to paste. Wow. That's quite big. Let's compare this with what we get nowadays. It's just a simple 2-3 page fold instead of that lengthy strip of instructions. Well, let's look at the phone. Beside I have my iPhone 11 Pro Max. And then in comparison, can you see the screen size, which is 3.5 inches as opposed to 6.5. Today's iPhones are nearly double the size of that original iPhone. All these years, this phone was lying in a box in my garage. And it still showed the charging icon as soon as I plugged in. And it booted fairly quickly. You see, this is the original product which Steve Jobs was obsessed over for a decade. And I read back then that this original iPhone's internals are very premium. Steve Jobs only wanted the best materials available to be used in the iPhone. So this really is a very premium product, both inside and out. Let's look at that iconic swipe, shall we? And unlock. Let's try that once again. Swipe and unlock. That's such a cool way to unlock touchscreens. Really wish they would have had a setting in today's iPhones so that we could enable the swipe feature on our lock screens. That would be such a cool throwback to that original way of unlocking. I thought that the iPhone X would probably include some of these nostalgic throwbacks, but sadly none of them appeared. Let's look at the app design a bit here. Everything had to reflect like real life things. So you can see the photos, the camera, the maps. Let's look at Notepad first. You can see it kinds of represents a bounded notepad, even with the torn bits on the top. And nice ruled papers for you to type on. The keyboard was really something. It took a little bit of getting used to, but once you got the hang of it, it felt really natural. And that was a cool thing where you can just slide your finger onto the alphabet which you need without having to lift your fingers off. And then you can share it to email directly. You've got all these emails where you can set up your account. I remember BlackBerry was the one which efficiently handled email back then. You have the search bar on the top for easy navigation. Look at YouTube and that cute little telly icon. The phone is connected to Wi-Fi, but I don't think the apps are supported anymore. That's way too old YouTube. This was actually before Apple fell out with YouTube, because YouTube was bundled. You didn't have to download it from App Store. Look at the voice recorder app. It has to represent the real life, including the VU meter. And then maps. Not sure if this will load. It's actually showing somewhere in America and Canada. But yeah, look at that smooth, fluid navigation. I don't think this was possible in any other phones, if you remember back then. And yeah, look at that reachability with just one hand, and compare that with the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Phones really have got bigger. Next, look at the iPod. This actually was one of the biggest requirements which everyone wanted back then, because they don't want to carry an iPod and a phone, so they wanted one device. And that was what Steve Jobs was going to do, give us what we wanted, really. So I still have a few songs here. But this was one of the coolest things, when you rotated your phone into this landscape mode, then it had this cover flow art view. And that was so cool, really, because I used to love it. And I'm not sure why they got rid of it, but you could just flick through all your covers and then you can tap on something, but that revealed the song, and then you can play selecting this track like that. This was really a cool way of navigation, one of the really good iconic user interface designs. Apple really got rid of this. I don't know why, but it would be so cool if they bring this back again. Next, look at that phone application. So nice big numbers, easy for you to dial. It was all super responsive as well. And then, there was one cool thing called visual voicemail. Apple made a huge thing about it when they released the iPhone. It was like you can actually see your voicemail and you can choose which one you want to listen. Because voicemail back then, if you remember, you had to listen to them in sequence. So if you have 5, you have to start from first, skip the second one, then third one, and then, and so on. But here you can just all your voicemail. I mean, I can't show you here, but all the voicemail appeared one below the other, and then you can just choose what you want to listen. Next, look at the camera. 2 megapixels here. I mean, nowadays, cameras are so much better that, people just upgrade to the new iPhones just because of the camera. And back then, that is a 2 megapixel shooter without autofocus or flash or anything. And, well, that's what was included in the original iPhone. There was no camera bump at the back, so it was flush with the phone. But yeah, there you go. That's the picture of Lara Croft. Well, it's all right. You could probably share that on Instagram. But I don't think beyond that we could do anything more with this camera. Next up, here's a quick comparison of how the calculator app looks, both on the iPhone 11 Pro Max and the original iPhone. Still could get the whole scientific calculator if you flip it to the landscape mode. That's really so nice. I used to have a Casio scientific calculator back then. Next, let's look at the settings here. You've got auto brightness, so you can actually turn this on, and with the ambient sensor, which was included in the iPhone, it would adjust the screen to the ambient lighting around you. And the brightness, that phone really got quite bright, so even in like bright sunlight, you could get a decent view of the display. And then let's check wallpapers. You could only set the wallpaper on your lock screen. So they didn't allow you to set wallpaper on the home screen back then. And yeah, that's the default stock iPhone wallpapers. That's the Mona Lisa one. And yeah, that's it. It's set on the home screen. On the lock screen, not the home screen. And your home screen was always this black. Next, let's see if we can try to load a website. Let's Google search. I'm clicking on the Apple website. Here you get the SSL certificate. Well, warning actually. Wow, I don't think the Apple website loads correctly on the original iPhone. I think it's the Safari and the WebKit which Safari uses to work correctly. I think it hasn't got all the libraries and the fonts, so you can see that it doesn't load properly. Let's try Google search again. Let's look at images. Well, that's it. You can see images. But I don't think it works actually. You can't tap to go to the websites. Yeah, that's definitely outdated. That's nice. So you get the tabbed view. Let's try Amazon and see if it works. There you go. That's the Warning again. It's strange that it's giving a warning that the SSL certificate is present, not that it's absent. Wow, that is really bad. That almost looks like the WAP version, which mobile phones used to have before the iPhone. But again, I mean, it's not the phone's fault. It's just the web browser is outdated. And the sensors, I need to talk about them because touchscreen phones before them were a nightmare to use. I was using the Prada phone just before the iPhone launched, especially when you had to place the device near your ear to take a phone call. You had to lock it using the side button first before you lift and place it near the ear. Otherwise, the touchscreen kind of stayed active and the menu items got pressed when the phone is in contact with your ear. Apple cleverly eliminated that using the proximity sensor. That was so important that no other touchscreen phone really did that before the iPhone. Next is that 3-level accelerometer. This sends the phone's orientation, auto-rotating pictures or videos when you switch from that portrait to landscape mode. And then that ambient light sensor, which adjusts the screen to the right brightness based on your surroundings, helping save that battery life. Let's look a bit of the history and the huge implications for a bit. The iconic day was January 9th, 2007, and it was the first time I was watching a keynote from Apple live. I used to work in an e-commerce company which sold iPod accessories and other electronics, so we were all up to date on all the updates from Apple. I had a slew of iPods on my desk to test all the new accessories, and then I remember this keynote beginning. I still remember how Steve Jobs kept on repeating an iPod, an internet communicator, a phone over and over, and then what I saw after that was pure magic. We kind of assume that the iPhone had several revolutionary features, like its all-screen design, or the camera system, or the mobile operating system, or the iPod. But personally, I feel that there is another important thing that contributes a lot towards its success. And that is the way we interact with this device. The magical term for it is multi-touch. What's the point of building an amazing OS, pack it with features, put it in a nice enclosure, but not deal with that very simple and the most important factor, how we interact with it? Imagine if Windows OS, with all its glory, but no mouse pointer, and for every small little thing like even opening a folder, you have to write a command on your keyboard. Imagine how frustratingly complex that would have been. So really, after the mouse pointer, I feel that this multi-touch user interface is the most important innovation of mankind. It really redefined the way we communicate with our devices. Touchscreens until that point were really messy. They needed a stylus to hit the right spot. They were very blurry and pixelated, and the success rate was really a hit and a miss. And then more than one input at the same time was not even recognized. And when Steve Jobs showed that unlock slide screen, that really was something. Multi-touch interface by then was being developed by military tech. Even Microsoft was trying to figure out with their Surface tables. If you recollect those videos which Microsoft made back then, they were these giant tables with projectors below it, and you could just place the Zune, do you remember those guys? And it would open up the stack of pictures streamed from the phone directly onto this table, and you can interact with it by using multiple fingers. The ads really look cool, but I think the first consumer product to fully have this multi-touch capability was the iPhone. I even remember the very first Android phones did not have this multi-touch technology as it was patented by Apple. And then after the multi-touch, I think the next best thing to come our way is the App Store. The App Store was not even present on the initial original iPhone. I mean, my iPhone has got it because I've kind of updated it afterwards. But the iPhone single-handedly introduced a new category and made it so popular, and the most important thing in life, that everything was kind of restructured after that. Content suddenly had to become mobile ready. I even worked with Google on their Go Mobile initiative and oversaw the launch of many mobile ready websites. Now every other application or website we design, it is done on mobile first and then brought to tablets and computers. And that puts so much power right in your hands that you could be vacationing in the lakes, listening to Beatles, whilst paying your electricity bill and spying on your vacant home all at the same time. Wow, what a journey that was. We've really come a long way. Phones now are far from that devices which just allows you to take and make calls and play Snake. But they are the most convenient and efficient personal assistants. And they simply make everything very simple and very accessible. The iPhone really laid the foundation, and Android soon caught up, always keeping Apple on their toes by their innovative and open source way of thinking. We really are at the golden age of mobile development, and I can hardly wait to see what's in store in the future. So that's it, guys. It's been really a very pleasant and nostalgic trip down the memory lane. Hope you like my video. Please leave your comments to let me know your thoughts. And just a simple request, my videos are getting decent views, but not many are subscribing. Guys, I know all YouTubers say that you have to turn that notification bell on, but I personally know how inundated it will get with all those notifications constantly showing up on your screens. So I just say, just subscribe, as it shows that you support all our videos and we can keep on making even more interesting and informative content. And as always, thanks a lot for staying until the end. I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.